hit the reset button, shake the Etch-a-Sketch, select clear history. That's basically what the Democratic Party is hoping to do as it makes this breakneck pivot to Kamala Harris and encourages the electorate to forget about all the chaos and confusion of the past month. But hang on a minute. Both politically and procedurally, it's not quite that simple, no matter how much excitement the new front-runner is generating. The Democratic National Convention is in 4 weeks, and the party had previously floated holding a virtual roll call during the first week of August. As her candidacy builds momentum by the hour and a sense of inevitability is now setting in, there are still questions about the delegates, about the donations, and the state-by-state ballot rules that will need to get sorted out, possibly in court. Joining us now is Notre Dame law professor and election law expert Derek Muller. Derek, great to see you again. We're in uncharted political and legal territory. Democrats seem to be moving incredibly fast, but this has never been done before.
No, that's right. Whenever we've seen candidates or incumbents drop out of the election who are presumptive nominees or anything, if you will, it had to happen much earlier in the process. And in this modern era of presidential primaries since 1972, we've never seen anything like that. So we're definitely in uncharted territory.
Many Republicans are calling this, quote, an undemocratic coup that disenfranchises millions of Democrats who voted for Biden in the primary. It's really lovely that they're also worried and concerned about the Democratic voters, but they're threatening to file lawsuits to stop Biden from leaving the ballot. Can they do that?
I mean, anyone can file a lawsuit. I suppose the question is whether or not a court accepts it or whether or not you get sanctioned for filing it. But I don't think any lawsuits would go anywhere. Joe Biden is not the nominee of the Democratic Party. He hasn't been this whole time. He's been the presumptive nominee.
Right. What would they sue? I don't understand the grounds for suing.
No, right. So I think a lot of this stems from some memoranda that have been circulating saying, hey, there are some ballot access deadlines in other states that say you can't withdraw a nominee after July 15th. But those are based on a misunderstanding of the law. There are deadlines, certainly, for state Senate candidates, for U.S. Senate candidates, for governors, things like that. And some of those deadlines have passed for those offices. But there are other deadlines, and the first of those isn't until August 20th for presidential elections. States pull those out of the code separately. So a lot of the threats of lawsuits are really based on a misunderstanding of some of the election codes.
So no state has a deadline for the presidential ballot that has already passed?
Correct. Every state is still in play for Democrats.
All right. So Biden has also amassed a $100 million campaign war chest. Does all that money seamlessly go to Harris since she was on the Biden-Harris ticket?
Probably, although maybe less than seamlessly. So there's a divide out there. On the one hand, there are people who are pointing out, look, Harris's name is on the paperwork. It was there on the paperwork as the vice presidential candidate, but we can amend it, put her as a presidential candidate. She has access to that $100 million. On the flip side, there are others who have come up, and including some Republican commissioners on the Federal Election Commission, and said, look, the candidate's name, it's the candidate's name. And the presidential candidate is the candidate who was getting all this money. There is no vice presidential candidate until after the convention.
Right.
So there's a divide. There's a war that's being fought. There might be litigation about it. We'll see.
And the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, was supposed to proceed with a roll call, a virtual roll call vote to pick the nominee on August 1st. Will that go ahead as planned? Because that leaves even less time to coalesce around Kamala Harris's candidacy.
It seems like they're moving in that direction. The Rules Committee, I think they were supposed to meet Friday. I think they've switched that to Wednesday. They're going to propose rules about how they're going to go about recognizing the delegates and then having them participate in a virtual roll call. That virtual roll call, they said, will probably be sometime between August 1st and August 5th. And by then they will have their nominee. They'll be able to send that nomination out to the states, and they'll have locked in their presidential and vice presidential candidates. But that's a very short period of time, not just for Vice President Harris to get that majority, but also for her to vet and choose a vice president.
But delegates were supposed to vote for whoever their primary voters had voted for. Since they didn't vote for Kamala Harris, can delegates vote for whomever they want?
They absolutely can. So Democratic delegates are pledged but they are not bound. So pledge means you make the promise, bound means you're obligated to follow through. And that pledge, there's a separate provision in the democratic rules that say you are supposed to vote in good conscience for who the people in your district or in your state would support.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.